Hello, my name is Jenny Gardner. I'm an academic coach here at SNHU, and welcome to this guide on mistakes in mathematics. We will begin today discussing how mistakes are a good thing, how you can make some common errors in math answers, and the benefits of repetition. First of all, we think of mistakes or wrong answers as bad generally. We're worried about getting stuff wrong. Everyone, me, you, your classmates, your professors, everyone worries about making mistakes and getting answers wrong. But they're actually a very good thing because every time you make a mistake, you learn something from it. So don't be afraid to get an answer wrong. It's okay to get something wrong and to try again. That's why you take practice problems before you actually attempt your homework. And the reason that getting answers wrong is a good thing is that learning never, ever stops. We are not static. We are not stopped, and we can only ever be good at one topic. I might love math, and someone else might love writing, and someone else might love business, but that doesn't mean that I can't also do well in writing and in business, even though it may not be my favorite topic. Any topic out there can be something I can do and something you can do, including math. And the way that works is to try again when you get something wrong and not let it defeat you, which can be easier said than done. I absolutely struggle with it too. Many people do. But we have to remember, me included, that getting something wrong is okay. It allows us to figure it out and allows our brains to make new connections. And when we try again, we learn from our mistakes. Some of the common mistakes in math might be typos. For instance, once I had an answer, I had solved this huge formula, and the answer was 23.69 as my result. But instead of a decimal, I wrote a comma. And then I got the answer wrong. And I had to go back and look, and I tried the whole formula again before I realized that I had made a typo. And that little typo had caused me to get the entire answer incorrect. So one of the first things to look for is a typo. The second thing to look for is that you've rounded to the correct decimal place. Decimals are generally not the ending number. A lot of times it keeps going on. So if I had 6.9 here, it might have been 6.9, 3.2, 7.6, 5, and I had to round to the correct decimal place. So looking at my decimal answer, making sure that I've know which number I need to round to is really important, and then rounding correctly is important too. So typos, making sure to understand your decimal answers, and rounding are super important and help you know the first things to check. Another common mistake is not distributing negatives when you're actually doing a formula. So if I had 1 minus x and that whole thing had a negative in front of it, I would need to remember to distribute the negative to both of the factors inside. And so this would be a minus 1 and a minus negative x. And when you subtract a negative, it becomes positive. So when I did that, I had to make sure to address those negatives correctly. And it gets more complex the more you use negatives. So when you're looking at your answer, make sure you have had enough review to have put the negatives in correctly in your answer box, but also throughout the formula, make sure that you've checked your negatives, because that is where you can go back and see if you've made any mistakes in your scratch work. And one of the other last important things to check is all about symbols. Did you put the correct number in for the correct symbol? If you're working with mean, the population mean, or the sample mean, did you use the correct one in each place? If there's more than one symbol for mean, are you sure you're using it in the correct way? If you have this symbol, the sum symbol, were you able to use every iteration when you were using that summation? Understanding the symbols will help you understand if you've made a mistake in your calculations as well. So let's say you get something wrong. Oh no, got something wrong. Now what? We're going to put the panic aside. It's not always possible not to panic, but what we're going to do is we're going to take that anxiety and that panic and we're going to pause it. Pause the panic, and we're going to put it in a bubble and we're going to put it to the side for a second. And if you can't do that, then you're going to let yourself sit in the panic for a second, get it out, panic a little bit, and then say, okay, I got it wrong. Let's move on and try and fix it. But before you go all the way back to the beginning, you're going to look for some of those common mistakes first. If those come out and those common mistakes are totally fine, you've done everything, you didn't make one of those, there could still be something small that's happening, so reread the problem. Look at what was being asked, made sure you answered that question and not an accidental answer to another question. You're going to go and you're going to make sure you use the right formula. You're going to look at your calculations and make sure that your scratch work is correct. And then as you're working through and once you find the error, you want to repeat. You want to go back and try this problem a few times so that next time you won't make that error. Unless it's one of the common mistakes. In that case, that's just a little thing that happens sometimes. But if it's something in your calculations or your formula or your reading of the problem, you want to do a couple more of these problems and repeat them until you have it down so that you can learn from that mistake. But guess what? There might be a problem out there that you're still struggling with. We all have them. And if that's the case, you reach out and ask for help. Come to our academic support, look for some help. Look for resources. Ask your professor. Reach out to your advisor and see what's available. All of those options are there for you so when you're struggling, you have a support system. And so that you can take these mistakes in math and use them to your advantage. Thank you for watching Academic Support Guide to Mistakes in Mathematics. Please read the video description for further resources that might assist you. Have an amazing, amazing day.